Hey, welcome back. It's Julian Gordon, and I want to welcome you to the Build Momentum 28-Day Challenge. Today, we're going to talk about how to have more financial freedom and abundance this year. And, a lot of people are out there working hard, making money, and money seems to be the goal. And when you look at their balance sheet and their cash flows in the same way that a business would and their income statement, at the end of the year, they actually have less money than they did starting the year, even though they got a pay raise and they were working harder. And I don't want that to occur for you. So it's really important that we are aware of our finances and that we look at our life and our personal finances in the same way that a business would. And so a business has two primary documents, which are the income statement and the balance sheet. And so we're actually going to look at those documents in the context of individual's life. Okay, so I want you to turn to these pages here. And first, we're going to start off with cash flow on a monthly basis and what that actually looks like on a monthly basis for an individual. And so I want you to look at your averages, right? And so on the left side, you see your monthly budget and cash flow. And so for many people, they only have one source of income, which is their job. And that's cool. But, the way I like to describe it is that an employee is already an entrepreneur, except they only have one big client, and that's their job, and that's their employer. And if their employer leaves them, if that one big client leaves them, they're screwed. And so I want to make sure that you can think and know your value, not only in the context of a job, but also know how to make money independently. If your job were to fire you tomorrow and say, we'll rehire you, but we'll only rehire you as a consultant, what service would you really be selling back to them? And when you think about that service and you say, okay, this is my skill set, this is where I create value, who else out there could you also sell that service to? And when you've made money, when you've made 4 or 5 figures independent of a job, it gives you so much security and freedom. It's not the job and it paying you more or how long you've been there that gives you security and freedom. It's really your awareness of your own self-worth. And so this is why I have a side hustle here. If you're not already an entrepreneur, you have your job, but I really encourage you to try to go earn 4 figures outside the context of a job. Also, for employees that are out there watching this video, I really encourage you to interview once a year. Even if you have no intention, even if you love your job, I encourage you to go through the process of interviewing for 1 month out of the year, just to see, one, how you articulate your value, 2, so that you are capturing your recent successes, and 3, you start to be aware of what your actual value is in the marketplace at this moment in time, irrespective of your current employer's pay scale. Right? So I encourage people to interview once a year just so that they stay fresh and on top of it, not just assume that the job that they have is going to be their job forever, and you're always kind of putting your foot in the game. A lot of people say, oh, that's being disloyal. Well, corporations haven't been that loyal to employees for a long, long time. So I don't think it's disloyal when you are just protecting your own interests and your family and those that you serve. Okay, so there is your revenues, and then there's your expenses. So here's the thing. A lot of people, when they get their salary or their paycheck, they actually call that income. And if you look at the way a business defines income, income is actually revenue minus expenses. Revenue minus expenses equals income. So in a personal context, what is your revenue? If you have a job, your revenue is actually your paycheck. That's your revenue. It's not your income, it's your revenue. We call it your income, but it's your revenue. Your income is what's left over at the end of the month after you paid all of your expenses. This is why someone who is earning $100,000 a year in revenue, but lives cost of living is rising with that salary and is spending $90,000 of it, could have only $10,000 income for the entire year. Right? That's not how it shows up from accounting purposes. They get taxed on the $100,000, but in the reality is they only have $10,000 that they saved after covering all of their expenses. Whereas someone who is making $50,000 but is living off of $35,000 has $15,000 in income at the end of the year. And so who actually has more financial freedom? The person who's getting paid the most, the $100,000, or the $50,000? It's actually the person who actually lives off the lease has the most freedom. Right? They have the most freedom and flexibility to move around because they don't spend as large a percentage of their actual salary in order to maintain their life and to have a decent life. If your cost of living is rising drastically, it's going to be very hard for you to feel tons of financial freedom unless somehow you know you can increase your salary without it being dependent on an employer saying you got a pay raise, you got a promotion, but that you have it within you and your own skill sets and subject mastery that you can actually increase your bottom line at any time that you want to. So that's the first real major distinction, is that your salary is not income. Income is what's left over at the end of the month. So first you have your revenues. In this case, in scenario example, there's $5,000 that this person is making, which is a $60,000 a year job. And then their rent and mortgage is $2,000, so already $2,000 gone just like that. Then there's water, gas, cable and internet, phone, groceries, fun and entertainment, car note, auto insurance, gasoline, no parking cost, personal care, savings, and that all totals to about $3,850 a month. So this person's income at the end of the month is not $5,000, it's actually $1,150. This is their cash flow. Right? And so this is a really important distinction, and this is really key for you to understand. And this is just the average month, right? So I want you to look at your averages from the past year and fill this out, right? And see, what is my actual cash flow? Some of you might find that you're in the negative and you wonder why you feel like you've been struggling or there's been scarcity in your life, is because your actual job isn't paying you enough to actually have the lifestyle that it is actually required to live in your particular city. Or there may be spaces where you've been letting money slip out of your pockets. You might spend heavily on food. We all have a vice. It might be shopping. Whatever it is for you, you might find that money is kind of evaporating and going into this black hole, and at the end of the month you're left with actually nothing. You worked for 20 days and you have nothing to show for it, right? So that is your cash flow on an average month. The next page on the right is where we want to go, and we want to look at your net worth. Your net worth is your assets as of today. If we were to sell you as an entity, this is how much cash or assets you would have. And so if you did this with us last year, I'm encouraging you to take last year's number so that we can actually see the difference, so that we can see the change that has occurred over the year. So in this person, December 31st, 2016, they had $8,000 in their checking account, $22,000 in their savings account, and they had a home that was worth about $300,000. And I'm really hesitant to use home because a lot of people draw from their home equity as if that's real cash, but the market can go up and down. Your home value could fluctuate just like that, right? And we saw that happen in 2007. And so when I think about my personal assets, I kind of leave my home equity out of it because I don't really want to access that. I'll actually leave my home debt in, my mortgage, without putting in my home asset, so that when I do actually sell the home or something like that, that's just really like a cash pop. I don't want to rely on home equity because the market could fluctuate. I don't really have control over home equity as much as I do some of the other aspects of my personal finance, right? So this person at the end of 2016 had $330,000 in total assets. Now their home loan was $280,000, right? So their home was worth $300,000, but they owed $280,000, meaning that they probably just bought the house, or they pulled out a loan on. They had paid the mortgage down, but pulled out a loan on it. So now how much they owe is back up, their mortgage. Then they still have $20,000 in student loans, a $4,000 car loan, and a $2,000 credit card debt. So their liabilities are $306,000, meaning that their net worth at this moment, if they sold their home, paid off the debt, paid off their student loans, car note, and credit card, they would be worth $24,000. And this is really their assets over the course of their life, right? Over their working life. From the age of 18, they have $24,000 in terms of net worth. The fact that it's positive is a good thing, but when you think about somebody who's worked from 18 to 30, for example, that's basically only adding $2,000 a year to your actual bottom line or to your net worth. And I think that everybody out there who's watching this is actually more valuable than that. If you're this deep in the Build Momentum campaign, I already know that you're more valuable than that. So I just want to put that in perspective. If you only have $24,000 in net worth at the age of 30 and you became an adult at 18, that's 12 years, right? $24,000 divided by 12 years means that you'd worked 50 weeks a year, right? Or you were a student, of course, for a period of time, but you still could earn income at that time. You could earn income before you were 18, but over your adulthood life, you've only been able to add $2,000 a year to your bottom line. And so we want to change that dynamic so that's not the paradigm that you live in, because $2,000 a year added to your bottom line over 40 years is not going to cut it, right? And of course, your earning potential is going to go up and things of that nature. But I'm just giving you the hard, cold facts of what it could look like for a 30-year-old. So now we just fast forward a year later to today for all of you, which will be December 31st, 2017. This person has added more to their checking account. They're at $15,000. Their savings is $40,000, so they've added more to that. And their home is now worth $320,000. Perhaps some new stores popped up and things like that nature. You never know what is driving your home value, right? So this person's total assets is $375,000 now, and their home loan is $250,000, so they've paid down $30,000 on it. Student loans, they took down half, so it's at $10,000. Their car note is down half to $2,000, and their credit card is paid off. So their total liabilities are $262,000, meaning that their net worth at that moment in time is $113,000. So again, if we look at this 18-year-old and who's now 30 has $113,000 in net worth, they were able to add about $10,000 a year to their bottom line, right? So this is a huge distinction, and this is a huge transformation in the context of a year. That is what is it? An $81,000 turn in terms of their income or their net worth, which is huge. Okay, so ask yourself on the bottom. You can see the fill in the blanks. What investments do you intend to make this year? Like buying equipment to start your company, building your website, and what ways do you also in turn intend to earn more income? You could get an advanced degree. You could start your side hustle. You could try to get a certification to increase your salary. There are various ways to increase your income that don't require having a higher paying job, right? Because a higher paying job usually means more hours, and when you actually divide the number of the salary of that higher paying job by the number of hours you have to put in, the numbers don't come out too well. And then take taxes off of that, and you won't be happy with the number probably. Okay, so next is, what expenses do I intend to reduce this year? Could be clothing, whatever your vice is, right? How can you cut it down? I'm not saying cut it completely out, but how can you cut it down? Perhaps parking tickets, you just like ignore parking meters and things like that, and you're racking up $60 tickets. Or you have wasted goods and food, right? You buy all this good food with the intention of eating it and cooking something new, and then a week later it's rotting in the fridge, right? So how can you change that system in order to reduce your waste? Okay, so that's where we start. Then I have a sheet for you on the next page that allows you to monitor your net worth over the course of the year so that it's growing progressively. You don't want it to go backwards. You want your net worth to continue to grow until the day you retire. And if you're on the retirement plan. There are other people who are on the passion plan who aren't seeking retirement, and they're just living the life that they want, and they're not trying to wait for this big day where they don't have to work anymore because they actually love their work. So the way you use this sheet is you start with the last column from the last sheet, where your net worth was as of December 31st, and then at the end of January you do the same evaluation. You do the numbers. How much is in our checking account? How much is in our savings account? What is our home value right now? Again, remember, you can't control home equity or your home value that much. How much do we owe, though? You know that number exactly. How much student loan do I owe right now? We know that number. Car note, I know that number. Credit card, I know that number. And so you can actually do this on a monthly basis. Literally, if you have the passwords to these accounts ready, you can get this done in 3 to 5 minutes on a monthly basis, right? So this sheet is here for that. The next sheet is to monitor your cash flow. So your cash flow is like your income statement, and your net worth is like your balance sheet. Okay, so you want to do the same thing with your cash flow. You want to download your account statements or use something like mint.com, so you can say, this is how much I brought in from the job, and that's going to be pretty consistent unless you get a pay raise or a promotion, right? This is what I earned from my side hustle, and that'll give you your total revenues. And then your rent's going to be pretty consistent. Your water bill and power is going to fluctuate a little bit. Gas is going to fluctuate a little bit, but it'll be around the same. Cable is consistent. Your phone bill should be consistent unless you're calling some crazy places. Grocery, that's going to fluctuate a little bit. Fun and entertainment, I encourage you to budget that, right? I have a budget set aside for $200 a month for fun or something like that, so that it becomes more consistent. Your auto insurance is going to be identical every single month. Then you have car gas, which will fluctuate a little bit. Parking, if you have to pay for a parking pass or anything like that. Personal care will fluctuate. You need lotion, you need cosmetics, you need whatever to live your life. And then I encourage you to make your savings, how much you would put into your savings, consistent on a monthly basis, and hopefully when we have released the credit cards. All right. So you want to do this again the same time you do the other one on a monthly basis. Just put a note on your Google Calendar. 15 minutes. I'm going to knock out my net worth, my monthly net worth, and my monthly cash flow, and you'll start to see your progress. And by having these numbers on top of your mind every 30 days, you'll be very conscious of them. And as you reach for your credit card or as you reach for your wallet, you'll be like, you know what? I overspent in this area last month, and so I need to cut back. I'm going to say no to this particular impulse purchase, right? So this is a really powerful process. Some people don't want to see the truth, and so they hide from it and just hope that making more money is going to solve it. And trust me, I know that making more money alone is not going to solve it, because if your cost of living rises with the amount of money you're making, then you're going to find yourself even more trapped than you were before. Okay, so I encourage you to do this. Start with the first pages of evaluating your monthly expenses and do your net worth as of last year and as of today, and you'll see some revealing things, and then you can start to make new choices about how you invest your money, not spend your money, how you invest your money in the upcoming year. So I hope this is helpful, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Peace.